Hello, everyone. My name is Chewy, and this is the I Love You podcast. Today, we're going to be discussing episode 158 of I Love You. And also, as a side note, if you hear random noises in the background, that's because it's Diwali and all my neighbors are doing fireworks. I changed my mic setting, so hopefully you guys don't hear any of it. But if occasionally you hear like a weird sound in the back, that's what that is. No need for concern. Why the hell does Noah always have math tests after?
You know what's like so funny to me? I think about a lot. I feel like our podcast reminds me of when I was like 8, watching Simmers on YouTube, and like in the back of their videos, you'd always hear noises, and they'd always like have like in the comments, you'd be like, "Sorry for the noise in the background." There's like stuff going on. That's what this reminds me of. For those who can relate to that experience, who listen to this, major throwback to that time period when that was really popular, when The Sims 3 was like really popular. Sorry, anyways. Moving forward though.
Okay. Oh shit, we didn't do sections. Oh my god, we're
yeah.
I
guess we're just gonna wing it. Like, I don't know.
Okay, I think we can break this episode into sections. Actually, I feel like there are certain things to talk about.
Yeah.
We're rusty because we didn't do it for like a few weeks when it was on hiatus.
I had a lot to say, clearly.
Yep, clearly. Okay. So we should split it up maybe. I loved it when Close. I feel like that's another instant of like Kimchi just calling out the audience. You know how like she does that.
Yeah. I'm trying to look back to what I was typing about so I can see what I was saying and like get a good idea. Okay. Yeah. Let me get back to it. So we're gonna start off with first Kosuke talking to Soshi. Honestly, Kosuke this whole episode, like, I'm just so conflicted on how to feel. Like, a part of me wants to believe he's being genuine, but another part of me also says that this could just be a ploy and the start of his like control thing that he has going on right now. So I'm kind of conflicted on where I find myself like placing him right now. But looking at the time and like how old he is, I want to say this was around when he was in college. I think he said that he was in college, so he was probably more chilled out back then. So I want to say it's probably just the fact that he feels kind of bad at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, that's what I'm leaning towards, at least. Don't flame me in the comments calling me a Kosuke sympathist, please.
Sympathizer.
Meanwhile, all the comments on Webtoon are probably like, "Oh, you Kosuke sympathizers! All you guys do is excuses, behavior." Meanwhile, me, yeah, Kosuke's a pretty bad person, but
For sure. Kosuke looks so odd in this episode. I think Kimchi was trying to make him look younger.
He does look young, younger than I thought he would look.
Yeah, I feel like last episode he definitely looked older, but like this time I think she tried to make his face more rounder to convey that no, he's like most likely Noel's age or younger than that a little bit.
Yeah, he looks like a middle schooler.
He probably is, but like he's just in college.
Maybe it's because he's short. I don't know.
No,
I think it's his round face.
It's his juice.
But he looks really young. Like a middle
because you looks young too, and I'm pretty sure she's like old. So it must just be his jeans.
It's those great Japanese skin jeans. You know what I'm talking about? Like Chef's Kiss. Honestly, like love that for them. They look young forever. Meanwhile, Rand has aged like a date. Like just pruning
like fine wine, if you ask me.
I think there are two kinds of people. 10
people just stop listening because of what I just said. Like,
no, I think more people agree with you. I think for me, it's a combination of weird panels and then Rand's behavior that makes me think that he's just an ugly ass boy. But I think a majority of the fandom actually simps for him. So
majority, everyone in the fandom has simp for Rand.
I'm a simp for Rand. Yeah.
Hashtag keep it in the family.
Not this again. How do we keep coming back to this
Fred,
even if it's not the topic of discussion?
Fred, when you were saying how Kosuke, like, he could have had good intentions before, like, in the start, but, like, it bloomed into something really bad and, like, obsessive. You know what that kind of reminds me of? Have you guys watched Maleficent?
Yeah.
Do you know, like, the guy who turns into the king? It kind of reminds me of that. For some reason. I don't know.
I kind of think it's the opposite. Like, I feel like, oh, wait, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Chewy. Go on.
I think, like, for me, it's a little bit of the opposite, where I think he was really, like, terrible to Noel when he initially met him and when he was a lot younger. Like, that's when we saw Kosuke be the cruelest, you know, to him, and just, like, because it's pure childish, and that's fair, because he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
Children can be pretty awful when they're jealous. So, like, I feel like a lot
Children
of that
so mean.
was him. And then Noah got really fucked up. And then as Kosuke got older, he was like, oh shit. Like, I feel like he obviously has not reconciled everything, like all of his daddy issues and everything. But I feel like as he got older, he realized that there were more players at play. Like, he started at least a little bit to understand that it's not Noel's fault completely. Like, of course, he still holds that view, but I think he just got older and he realized that
there's more tying into this, and I will also like to say that Kosuke is self-aware of his mother's behavior towards Noel. Like, I hope people
it's so much more complicated.
Like, it's so much more complicated than people realize. Like, he's very self-aware, but he can't bring himself to, like, be like, oof.
To be honest, like, I don't know if I would either. Like, okay, maybe that makes me a bad person. It probably does. But, like, I feel like it's really hard to come out against people who have supported you your whole life. Like, especially narcissists, who will turn everything around and be like, oh, but I love you, and blah, 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 and all that shit. So,
Yeah, there's
so much. I swear to God, I'm never defending that man except in his taste of, like, sweets, because I also have a sweet tooth. But, like,
also
anything
his taste in women, pretty outstanding so far.
Not like it's so much more complicated.
Yeah, there's like so
I
much
really
stuff.
want to try on the desserts that he tries. Like, ugh.
There's really so much more at play that, like, people just don't even realize that's going on. Like, it's really, you could really, like, really dive into, like, all the other stuff at play going on here with the whole Kosuke, Hirihara, Noel, Yui thing. Like, there's a lot tying into that. Like, a lot of things at play. Like, there's a lot going into that. Even Yujing has her hands dipped into it. Like, there's a lot tying into it.
And, like, you can tell she's like, this is a shit show.
Yeah, so for people to, like, look at it from, like, face value and not, like, look past what they can see, but look at it from, like, a different angle, it's just crazy to me, because all I think about is, like, whoa, like, there's so much going on behind the scenes, like, it's, like, deeply, like, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say inseminated, because I feel that's the wrong word, but, like, that's what I'm thinking of. Oh, cemented. It's deeply cemented. There we go. Cemented into, like, the comic. Like, there's been, like, hints, like, placed, like, throughout it to, like, show that, like, there's a lot more, like, going into this than, like, what appears at the eye.
Definitely. Like, I actually loved this episode, like, so much. It's just like, oh, Kosuke is the kind of character that you hate him in, like, one episode, and then you kind of, like, understand him in the next. And that actually brings me to our next section, which is a top comment, at least at the time where I saw it, which was somebody pointing out, feel free to let us know who you were, that there were, like, some perhaps Kosuke Maya parallels, because, they're, like, both characters that, like, people really hate. And then, like, once you see their side, you hate them a little less, because you're like, okay, I get it that this story isn't necessarily mainly from your point of view, so you may come off as more of a villain than you really are. But I don't know, guys. Do the similarities end there, or are there more things? I know that some of us were disagreeing with the comment.
Wouldn't the parallel technically be between like Kosuke and Minhyuk? Because, like, Minhyuk is the one who asked Maya to do that. Because, like, Minhyuk is the one who asked Maya to watch over Shina, and Kosuke is the one who asked Soshi to watch over No. So wouldn't the
Oh my
parallel be
god!
those two instead of like Maya and Kosuke?
Fred, that's literally so brilliant. I didn't even think of that. I'm like so stuck in this mindset that like Noel and Minhyuk are parallels, and they definitely are. But I feel like oh my god, Fred, your mind, like oh my
If you're
god,
gonna tie down into that whole world too, you can also compare that to you could parallel that to Noel and Chuna too, because like they both had people tell other people to watch over them.
exactly. And that's why they can relate to each other so much. Fuck, I really want to see Kosuke and Minhyuk meet.
I don't think that would go over too well.
I know, but I feel like oh,
I don't think Minhyuk would like Noel or Kosuke. That's a whole different story.
I mean, I feel like that's fair because they
Minhyuk
both.
and Kosuke have already met.
Oh
They have
shit!
met.
Oh my god! Do I have dementia or some shit?
It
Rand was
was with
acting very
Rand.
sus. Rand
I
was
mean,
acting
like
very
meet. I want them to meet. Like
sus. Yeah.
Like, oh, my name is Kosuke, and China's like, this is my best friend Minhyuk.
Yeah. I
Was
agree.
it? Didn't he like make fun of his like?
Hair, yeah.
He's like, "Are you
I don't know.
homeless?" And I'm like, "Kosuke, Jesus Christ." But it wasn't like Rand was reprimanding his son's behavior. Rand was acting like a total dick too. He's like, "I'll break your fingers" or some shit. And I was like, "Sir, you need to calm down. This is the Wendy's. Like, what are you?"
Yeah, I
Went
don't
off
think
into some.
Minhyuk.
Like, I felt bad for Minhyuk. Rand and Kosuke are so extra. Like, oh my god. Like, it's embarrassing. I got secondhand embarrassment.
They literally don't understand like human interaction.
I can't. Okay. But we don't think that there's a. Okay, back to Kosuke and Maya then. We don't think, question mark, that there's a serious parallel there.
I don't see any
I
parallel.
don't see any.
I can kind of see it in like the way the fandom perceives both of the characters. So but I feel like other than that, like they're not the same. Like I'm sorry, I just don't see Maya as like Kosuke.
I don't either.
Yeah,
I can't see it. If anything, I see some parallels between Maya and Soshi, right? Because they were both asked to watch over their friends, and there are going to be different consequences for being told to do that, you know?
Soshi and Noel worked out, meanwhile Nai and China didn't. Oh man, funny how that works.
For sure. And, you know, Shina got mad at Maya for doing that, but will Noel get mad at Soshi for doing that? I don't know.
I don't think Noel would honestly care. Honestly, he just doesn't seem like he would. I don't think it would really bother. First of all, I think he already knows. I don't think he's
He
dumb.
definitely knows.
Noel isn't dumb. Like,
Absolutely not.
there's
isn't
no
he
way
dumb?
he's not self-aware. Well, I mean, yeah, there's no way he just doesn't know it. Because, like, I'm not saying it's not obvious. Because I guess it wouldn't be that obvious to like the unnoticeable eye. But knowing Noel, he's perceptive. He knows what's going on in his life, so he knows like what's happening there.
Definitely.
I hope.
And like Soshi literally just admitted it, so like
I
yeah.
don't think Soshi really goes out of his way to like hide it. Maybe at first he went out of his way to hide it, but I don't think he goes out of his way to hide it anymore. Like it doesn't seem like he does. Like Soshi was there at the party. Like it's clear that like he was there. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like something she's like. Well, he's like obviously obnoxiously trying to hide. But yeah. Crap. No.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, Fred, like your mind is so beautiful. I love you so much. Like that Kosuke Minhyuk parallel, I did not see coming, but I'm completely here for it. Like, just chef's kiss, brilliant. I love it here. Oh my god.
You know,
Okay.
speaking of that too, actually, now I'm thinking about it. I guess you could say that, like, oh my god, it would be a crazy parallel, like not a, I
Here
don't know
we
if it's really
go.
a parallel, but it would be really crazy if like Quinn was trying to show us like two different kind of examples because it's kind of like, oh, Midhug's doing it for the right reasons, but Kosuke's doing it for the wrong reasons, but they both had the same intentions. I just thought about that too.
No. That I think you're right. Like I don't know if it was intentional, but like yeah, I think even if Kimchi didn't intend for it to happen, I feel like it's definitely a parallel there. You know, like two people doing pretty much the exact same thing, but perhaps two different outcomes and certainly two different perceptions within the fandom, right? Like with Kosuke, like we view it a lot more cynically. I don't think the fandom agreed with Maya either, but I feel like we were never as harsh with her.
Mm-hmm.
Most likely because we never saw Maya like verbally assault Shona when she was on Bede, like we saw with Kosuke. So I feel like that definitely like, you know, brings a little bit more antagonism. But I feel like the fundamental thing is the same. Like, is it appropriate for older siblings to ask their friends to watch over their younger siblings? You know, their younger siblings' friends to watch over them. Like,
See anything
kind
wrong
of.
with
I
that?
feel like we kind of just forgave Minhyuk for doing that, though.
I
Like,
mean,
I feel
It
like we
just
were
comes
more
from
mad
a
at
good place.
Maya. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
with Maya, it went wrong, like, because she was faking the friendship. Like, she wasn't even trying, but with
Yeah.
Soshi, he actually tried, and he built a bond with Noel.
yeah.
I
I
think
mean,
Soshi is just a lot more personable.
I mean, I guess I mean, I don't know if I really feel
Wait,
like it was something I had to like blame him. I mean, it came from a good place. Like as Vac said, it came from a good place of heart. I mean, it wasn't like the best thing to do, I suppose, but it came from a good place. So it's not like
didn't Kosuke say for it to happen naturally? Like, to give him a chance? What did Minhyuk say? Like, he was, like, forcing her to do it.
Yeah, I felt like Maya was very. I mean, Minhyuk kind of wasn't giving Maya an option, which is kind
like
of problematic.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
Maya,
he was being really pushy about it.
yeah, I don't know. I feel like Kosuke definitely was, but in a different way. You know, he was like,
But
"I'll help you," like, you know, like, oh, you know what it is? It's like giving a carrot instead of giving a stick. I feel like it's uh I feel like it's a little bit more like that. You know, Kosuke's trying to give incentives to him to be like,
definitely.
try it out. Like, I also think, I don't know. I don't know. Fuck. Okay. I also think a small part of him, like, asked him to be friends with Noel in the way Kosuke never could because he was too busy verbally assaulting him. It's like the
Oh my
way
god.
he was talking. I don't think, clearly, guys, clearly Kosuke never changed, Kosuke never improved, but I feel like people can still hold a lot of regret and guilt but not change. You know? I feel like it, but their regret and guilt is still there and still very much valid and kind of shows that, you know,
I have a lot of time. I have a lot.
they are,
There's
they
a
don't have a
lot
stronger incentive.
I could say.
He's a human, guys. Like,
Like, I feel like he kind of was trying to tell Soshi to be the friend that he never was to Noel.
Yeah, that's kind of what I said too. He was like, give him a chance. I feel like that's just hint for just give
It's
him
very much projecting. Half of what Kosuke
yeah.
says is projection. Like, it was very much like, you know, it's the kind of advice he would give his younger self, maybe. But obviously, of course, Kosuke's not gonna listen. Oh, I can already feel like the audience's head being like, "No, Chewie," like, but he never did this, and he did this and that as an adult, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But I feel like it doesn't have to be mutually exclusive, guilt and change. Like, people can be guilty and not change. In fact, it can make them more set in their ways, their guilt. Um,
Rand,
Yeah, like look at Rand.
because
That man is so guilty of all of these things, but he's clearly never improved. In fact, he's gotten worse.
Rand, you see, I'm just see. Let me not get into the whole Rand thing. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna comment on that because this will turn into a whole different kind of conversation. Like, I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
speak on Rand just for the
So
simple
like,
fact that no.
yeah.
Kosuke, like, they both found a good way to hide their ugly side, and they look more
Yes.
composed, but they're still just terrible people.
Facts. Like, I think the guilt really came out of Kosuke in this episode, and I know it's just so easy to see him through a lens of antagonism, but I'm trying hard not to. Like, I kind of really saw it as him projecting onto Sochi and like telling him to be the friend he never could be to Noel, and that Noel clearly needs a friend after everything his family's put him through. Um, and just like, you know, like clearly he's never changed, but also he has all this guilt and like I feel bad, but also I don't. And like I'm just so confused, you guys. Ugh.
The only thing I can really say that I genuinely feel kind of bad for is that, like, I feel bad for Noel, and I feel bad for Kosuke, and I feel bad for Sochi too, because I feel like everyone who gets tied in to their drama just ends up extremely unhappy. Just
I
saying.
know.
But the whole point I really want to get across with this episode is that I don't want people to see Kosuke as like this monster who's like always out to like get his brother, which it's I don't really see it as that because like clearly this episode Kosuke literally said, "No, we're not family," so that's a pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
It's pretty self-explanatory if you ask me.
facts.
However, I just wish people would understand and see that like people aren't just like born like bad. Like Kosuke wouldn't have been like this if it wasn't for how he was raised. And I feel like a lot of people just forget that and just chalk up to like, and don't get me wrong, yeah, he should own up to his behavior. He's like 24. Like, dude, like grow up. But like at the same time, it's really hard to break away from the mentality that you basically grew up with and had no one to really check you about it. Especially if that person was like a a real narcissistic monster who exerts her control over like literally everyone around her. So
I
yeah.
just like I hate everything. It's interesting too because when Soshi's like, "You know him? How?" and Kosuke didn't reply by saying, "I'm his brother." He said, "I'm his guardian," and I thought that was really interesting, like a really interesting way of putting it because when you fill out forms in school and stuff, it says parent/guardian. I don't know how it is in other countries, but that's how it is in the States. And clearly Noel doesn't have like a really good parent figure. So like really the only one that seems to sort of look out for him is Kosuke, which is horrifying by the way, if the only person that's seriously looking out for you is Kosuke. Like poor Noel, Jesus. And I feel like Kosuke himself admitted it, right? He's like, well, I'm supposed to be his guardian, but you know how life can be complicated sometimes. Yeah, Kosuke, we know how it's complicated for you. Uh,
I just know the end of this episode. Oh,
I'm so sorry, Fred. What the fuck? No. I'll let you talk. But I just realized that in the same manner, Kosuke gave Soshi an umbrella, Maya gave Shina an umbrella. Like, I don't know where I'm going with this, but my mind. Okay, anyways, Fred, go on.
oh, I was just gonna say like the last panel just really has me running in circles because like it's just like a bunch of like that last line Kosuke gives like I know friendship can't be forced, but just give him one chance. Like oh my
You think
god
he's
that
talking about himself there?
yeah of course he is.
Oh, my mind is a little slow today. Please forgive me, you guys.
It's
Like,
mainly I just mainly feel like that's like him. I feel like Kosuke is he's self-aware of like his own behavior. I feel like he's really self-aware.
it really is.
He just
That's why I
acts
don't
like
think
he knows
he's dumb or
what's going
lacks
on.
emotional intelligence.
I feel like he knows what he's doing is wrong, but like he just really just can't bring himself to like be the bigger person right now, and he still
Definitely
can't. But I feel like a part of him realizes, and maybe this is just me projecting what I want to happen, but I feel like a part of him feels like he should have gave Noel a chance, but
But then
he just
also he
couldn't.
says that I know friendships can't be forced. And I feel like Kosuke's whole perception of his relationship with Noel was very forced. He was quote unquote forced to meet him, forced to be his brother, forced to be his guardian. Like they never like I just can't see a world where Kosuke would have been uh, you know, like happy
Mhm.
to see Noel.
Honestly, I didn't even think about that. Trey, stop. That's so big brained. I didn't even think about that. You're totally right. Their whole relationship was actually I think it's something I wanted to talk about too, but I won't talk about it now because like it's kind of irrelevant to this episode. But I want to talk about that later. But yes,
Yeah.
I feel like their entire relationship was very forced. Their meeting was very forced.
And I know, okay, we definitely talked about it. Like the title of one of the last episodes is called "Forced Family and Other Kosuke Bias." So I know we've talked about this, and I feel like in that episode we very much were like, "Oh, Kosuke, you're being hypocritical. Like you emotionally, verbally, like abused Noel. You weren't forced to be his brother. Blah 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 blah." But like I feel like stepping back from that thing, I guess, where we saw him just like assault Noel, right? That was still very fresh in our mind. Like I feel like kind of seeing it from Kosuke's point of view, it's very much forced. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
to him, it's very forced. This whole like I have to live. They live together.
I can't believe no one even talks about this. So like Kosuke like really flat out said that like him and Noel haven't known each other that long, which is kind of crazy to me
because like it's from Noel's point of view that we're taking this from, right? Where we're like, oh, Kosuke, you had so many opportunities to be the better kid and be friends with him, but like I feel like just looking at it from his point of view now, like it is very much worse. And there's like no way Noel and Kosuke could have ever become like really good friends like the way they did. Like I know everyone's saying like, okay, but what he did was still bad. But like I feel like people can be put in situations that like no matter what the outcome is, it's gonna be bad. Because people are just good people, like quote unquote, that just like do good things in every instant. Like I'm not explaining anything right today. Oh my god. But like
No, I get what you're trying to say. I said
as Fred
that
said,
maturing is realizing that Kosuke
Yeah.
is the victim as Null, which I feel like
Yeah.
it takes a lot to really admit that, like, because I feel like a lot of people just can't bring themselves to see things from Kosuke's perspective, which is what Chewie was saying too. But like, she was basically saying that like she can understand where Kosuke is coming from the most part, which is kind of messed up to say because like, dang, like he definitely verbally abused his own brother for a good while. Like that does really suck. But at the same time,
huge jackass.
essentially really can see if I put myself in his shoes, if I empathize with him, I could really see where he's coming from because
Awful for him.
the relationship was forced. He literally sees Noel
Yeah.
as the reason why his life is the way it is now. Like, and vice versa too. I feel like they both see each other as the reason why they're like this now.
Definitely, you're right. They've had so much of an influence on each other's lives, and they don't know it. Okay, let's talk about another thing that I noticed. And it was like the way Kosuke was marketing Noel, to Soshi. I feel like this is the max amount of compliments Kosuke would ever give to Noel. He says to Soshi, "You're a really stubborn boy. Did you know that? You won't give up. I guess that's admirable, but look at you. You're consistently getting hurt." Does that remind us of someone else? Perhaps? A little ginger boy?
Sorry?
Like, he said, like, you won't give up. I guess that's admirable. Like, I feel like when Kosuke and Noel reconcile, like, that's gonna be the form of compliment. Admirable.
Of course, like he really reminded me of someone I know. Like, I feel like again, I don't know how to feel about this. I don't know. Kosuke looks at everyone and he just like sees Noel. Like it's so weird. Like that's like the only thing on his mind. Like
oh my god. But
Noel lives in his head rent free. Like holy
to
crap.
be fair, people are kind of like Noel. I feel like it has to do less with being Noel-like and more with just being a normal human being. Normal human beings I feel like are more like Noel. Like genuinely really nice people, really committed to their friends, very stubborn, kind of quote unquote heroic in a way that could also be seen as stupid and reckless. And everything Kosuke is not. I mean, he's stupid, but he's not necessarily. Again, he was raised to be a robot, so he doesn't quite understand why people would act in a way that negatively affects them for their friends and things like that. So I think for me, it has less to do with necessarily like it being like Noel, but him seeing all these traits that Noel has in other people, and he's like, why the fuck is everyone like this guy? Like, why is everyone always siding with him? Why is everyone always like acting like him? Like, what's going on here? And I feel like that also like makes him like really frustrated because he sees his reflection literally everyone did. Yeah.
Man, oh man, this episode really just got me thinking about stuff.
For sure.
Cause like it's really crazy if you like it's all just so like intertwined. Like This has been going on for like years now. like if you really think about it, this started when they were this honestly started when they were children. They just didn't even know it yet. Like this has been going on for years now. Like,
I
oh
just
man,
need them to confront each other and cry because it's the way they go out reaching to other characters and then they just project each other's issues on them and they just like talk about them through other characters and they just like go on their own side adventures that actually like end up revolving around.
to be
Like,
fair, Noel
oh
has
god,
tried to reach out before. He
for
literally
sure.
tried it. He literally tried again, actually,
Actually,
just
yeah.
recently.
It seems
Just
so that he stopped for like several years, which makes sense, obviously.
it's like so stop. Let me back to that scene where like you could see Noel on the floor and he just wants to talk to someone, like even if it is only Kosuke, he just needs someone to talk to. Yeah.
So sad too when you think about the fact that Noel's been trying to avoid Kosuke for years, and the only and like now is why he's coming back because everything is so bad for him. Like he's willing to go to Kosuke.
That's super
When you put
depressing.
it in that context, it gets really depressing.
Yeah.
I swear to God, they're both so annoying. Like when they want to reach out to each other, the other person's like ignoring it, and then it flip flops, and then it flip flops again, and I'm just like, you both are dumbasses. Please get it together.
That's why I think like there's just really no reconciling this. I mean, I feel like they can come to a term of peace and they can realize like, hey, like yeah, but I don't think it'll be to a point where like, oh, like yeah, they're like close now. And I just can't see that happening. It kind of reminds me of from Cheese in the Trap, you know. Oh yeah, that's actually a great example.
Which?
Oh my god! I feel like I skipped over this one line. Wait, go ahead.
Jung and Inhyo, when their relationship and how their relationship turned out, I kind of feel like that's how like Kosuke and Noel is gonna end up. Honestly.
Oh, please
no. Fuck, no.
I mean, I would hope not, because like their ending was kind of like dang, because like a lot of their, because like the whole premises around that whole story, not you can cut this out because like it's not that important, but like it kind of ties into what I'm trying to get here. For people who haven't read Cheese in the Trap, this is kind of spoiler, but like their whole relationship was the reason why I turned sour or why I turned bad was all due to like a bunch of misunderstandings from both sides.
Yeah.
And at the point, it just kind of got to a point where like there was just no return for either of them. Like they just, it wasn't, they weren't going to be able to work it out anymore to a point where they could go back to being as close as they were when they were children. So it's kind of like the opposite on Kosuke. I don't know. They were never really close to begin with, but I don't know. I just don't see it working out in a happy manner.
Okay, something less depressing. I skipped over this one line, it seems, but now I can't stop laughing at it. Was it real leather? It looked really nice. Those don't really come cheap. You do know that, right? Though I'm not really a big fan of the biker jacket. I can admire the craftsmanship. I just want to throw a brick at this kid's head. Like, why do you talk like this? Please be a normal person. Oh my god. But I love that. I just love the way he talks sometimes. Like he's trying to give compliments, but he doesn't know how to because he's dumb. I feel like that's the biggest compliment you're gonna possibly get from Kosuke though. Like I'm not a big fan because I think it's in poor taste, but I admire the craftsmanship. You're 12. Like stop talking like that. Oh my god.
That was like probably the nicest thing he said about someone that was not himself.
I feel like you can really tell he was trying out here.
The way he talks to Soshi reminds me of like me talking to like a 5-year-old. Like he phrases everything. Like he phrases everything kind of simple and like a question, as if like a 5-year-old would answer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like something a 5-year-old can understand. He like really talks down to him a lot.
He keeps saying, "You do know that, right? You do know that, right?" Like it's rich kids. Okay. Anyways,
the inferior type shit.
I'm not shitting on you.
Oh, yeah, like he's inferior, Vax. Yeah, I get you.
Definitely, and it's that of course whole rich kid thing again.
Now that I'm thinking, oh wait, he looks super weird in this. He looks really young in this panel. Oh my. Sorry. Anyways, moving forward though. One thing
Okay.
I actually wanted to say though, I don't know. Like I'm trying to like pin this out. Was this like before or after when when Noel went to a rehabilitation facility? This is probably after, right? So he disappeared again.
Yeah,
So
I think
something
it's
else
after.
happened, right? So something else must have happened, right? That's where this is going. That's what I'm assuming, right?
I think so.
Okay. I'm just making sure the timeline in my head is making sense because I was thinking like, is this before or after that? But I'm pretty sure this is after because he looked kind of young in that flashback. I think so.
Actually, he looked.
Let me see. Let me see if I can go. Let me see if I can go back real
It
fast.
looked like when he graduated high school.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's like it looks like they're on the age when he graduated, but like a little older because I don't know.
Okay, wait. So I just want to like, am I like literally voice acting today? Like, what happened? But okay. So she asks, what are you even getting out of this ordeal? And Kosuke says, I want you to accept that kid's friendship. That redhead keeps bothering you. That's what he's been trying to do, right? Let him be your friend. I'm sure you could use one too.
I think he just did a really good job at getting something out of this, while the other person also gets something in return.
Hold on. Contrasting the Minya Kosuke thing. Kosuke says you don't have to commit to this friendship forever. We can just start for a week and go from there if it suits you better. I feel like that's so different from when Minhya told Maya. Minhya is like, I'm gonna be out for like 6 months, so you're gonna have to watch over. Bye. Very much thanks. Whereas Kosuke like, understood
dummy.
from his past experience that like friendships cannot be forced. As much as you want Soshi to, look after Noel, you're gonna need to calm the fuck down, basically.
Yeah, you're right. He did kind of. I mean, honestly, props to Kosuke for not like forcing a friendship. He kind of just said, just give it a chance and see if it works out. But at the same time, like, shame on you for forcing a friendship. But at the same time, thanks for not forcing a friendship.
I don't want to hear anybody.
Oh, I'm so conflicted. It's just so weird knowing that this scene. I feel like on its own, like I would still be kind of pissed at Kosuke, but like now seeing it in context with the episode, like where he met his mom with Noel's mom and how he's projecting everything onto him, like I just like I don't know. I'm not as mad at him now. Like I feel like I don't know. I'm not as mad at him now. I don't know.
I'm not mad at him at all. I think I kind of just forgot why I was mad, and now I just don't care.
I know why I was mad, but I feel like it
what
just
is
fails in
wrong with you?
Honestly, I just don't really feel. Is it
Oh.
wrong of me? I don't know. Is it wrong of me to say that, like, I feel like as you get older and, like, I mean, you can, like, see, I think you really have to, like, look at it from, like, an unbiased standpoint.
You have to see it. No, you have to see it from a descriptive lens, not a prescriptive lens. This isn't how anything should be. This is how things are. And I think when you do that, you really find, I guess.
Because, like, if anything, I'm not really, like, this is only towards, like, their situation. Anything else in the story, I have my very own opinion about. Like, towards this specific relationship and their like whole family issues, so basically the main point of the plot, I really just can't. I don't know. Like, I feel like Kosuke and Noi are are both victims of this situation. Like, if there's anyone to blame, we should blame their parents. Like, I feel like that's where the most of this blame lies.
Noel's mom ran and Yui off like separate cliffs. Like, oh, my hatred for them.
Oh yeah, Noel's mom included. Don't get me wrong here.
I don't care anymore. I don't care if she's Milf with a motorcycle and she's Irish and she's red hair and she's like this amazing person. I don't care. I'm done with all the adults here. I'm ready to like just no bye. Please, like Thanos snap you away. Like, oh my god.
I'm so sorry. I'm like looking at my phone right now and I was trying to think. Let me think.
There's just so much to attack in this episode.
Yeah, you were saying, like, as time goes on, you just start to, like, it's like at the point, like, I don't care. You just want, you're looking through one tunnel right now. Like, you're looking at one direction and you're not looking at all these problems. Like, I don't care what Kosuke's doing. Like, I don't give a shit. Sorry.
Like, honestly, I don't really feel like I feel like I don't feel like a bad person for not feeling like bad about like this whole situation. Like at this point, like maturing is realizing that everyone is a terrible person and all of them need collective group therapy. Like let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they really are just characters. They are pictures on my screen. We all have we have lives outside of this, guys. We're not. You guys need to realize that.
Chronically really crazy to me though too is that like one thing I really just don't comprehend about like let me think about this. How do I phrase this without it sounding like weird or not weird but like bad? One thing I just don't like really like understand about this comic that like the fans say is that like the emphasis on like making someone out to be the villain here. Like, I mean, yeah, like don't get me wrong, like Yui, okay, I guess. But like they make the wrong people out to be the villain. They like miss like the grand scheme of things. They just like focused in on like one thing and like they just
they're fixated on ideas of good and bad, black and white, like that type of shit. Like no.
I feel like I do that too though.
I mean, it's okay. Like
I don't really think you do that much, Chewie. I don't really think you really
like
do that.
I do that too. Like,
but like when you do it to like an obsessive level, like when you get mad at other people for having another opinion, then I got something for you. The grass outside your house.
Oh my god, this is such a episode.
Mainly, I just feel like people just really, really, really like skip past like the point of this story.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
A lot of people do.
I honestly, in my opinion, think there was one solid episode where Kosuke was being a complete asshole, completely unforgivable in his actions. I think there was one episode in the whole series so far that really showed that. And that's a Noel's POV episode. So it's not even like an objective truth. And that's like when Kosuke was literally just abusing Noel. But then like the rest of the comic is focused on, in terms of Kosuke, on his complexity and his feelings of guilt and mommy and daddy issues and all of this stuff. So I feel like if we are talking about the grand scheme of things, it was never ever to make him out to be a villain or anything like that. Like, I don't know why I keep viewing all his actions in such a sinister way. I don't know. I'm tired.
I mean, I feel like you're valid in thinking that like Kosuke doesn't have good intentions.
So
like he's kind of showed us that like he doesn't.